So, I want to see if you get it right, if you remember what the worst moment we had as a married couple was on the show.
I know what it is because it's the first time I said no to Bill Lawrence at Scrubs, because even if I argue, then he always wins anyway. I can always pitch. And that's how come we can work together, because I never insist. But the one time I did, he wasn't here. He was in Connecticut.
This is how I tell the story. It's a trick.
Okay.
My dad retired, so it was the first time. You can go ahead. Sorry.
That's all right.
It was the first time that I ever had to not be here while we were in production. And Krista was 8 months pregnant?
Like 6.
6 months pregnant? And big. No, yeah. She had to do a montage to music, competing with Heather Locklear.
Who, by the way, when I'm at my thin weight, normal, not pregnant weight, is like half the size of me. So already, this would have been the same argument if I wasn't pregnant, although it's a good excuse that I was pregnant, but I still would have had the same argument.
In the scene, she was supposed to try to climb up on a counter, and there's supposed to be a close-up shot of her giant
and I'm in a
pregnancy
tight,
butt.
like Diane von Furstenberg rat dress, so it's just
I wanted a full-frame
tight.
giant butt shot. And I went back to the East Coast, and the phone rang. I knew they were in production, and it was Randall Winston saying, "What do you want us to do? Krista won't do it." And I'm like, "What do you mean? Like she won't do that."
The combination of Krista being Krista, she's very persuasive. Her being a pregnant woman, and God knows what the hormones are doing, and her maybe having some body issues when Heather Locklear was on the show, combined, I think, would have just equaled either unemployment or pain for me.
And then I called up Krista. Not only did she say
you wanted me to show my big,
not only did she
fat
say she,
butt
and
right
you said,
on TV.
And you said, right now it looks like I could pick Heather Locklear up and eat her. I'm not going to show my big giant butt.
And Randall and the director and I had worked out a different way. But anyway, Bill gets on the phone and he said, "Do it." And I never have said this in 5 years. I said, "I'm not doing it."
And you
and
said
Bill's
to
in
me,
Connecticut.
You know what else you did? You said you're in Connecticut and there's nothing you can do about it, and so unless you want the show to shut down, you're stuck on this one. And then
Bill said, "Well, I'm not gonna. I'll just cut it. I won't have it in the show because it won't be funny. I'll just cut it." And I said, "Great, let's not shoot it." And then Bill got
I slammed the phone down. I tried to call different people on the crew to find someone that would have the courage to go tell Krista to do it, but she was always one person ahead of me. First off, so I would call the director, Ken Whittingham. He's like, "No, she already talked to me. I'm not going to say anything."
And then he called, and then I had Heather call him, and Heather said, "I wouldn't do it." And Heather's this big. She's like, "I wouldn't do it now." And then Bill's like,
anyways,
so mad.
I was so frustrated, but it also, I couldn't get Randall, I couldn't get the director, and I couldn't get any cast member to tell Krista that she should do it because it would be funny, because the one thing I don't think anybody said on the DVD yet is that Krista Miller is the singly most frightening person.
No, that's not true. Nadine, is that true?
No.
No.
Are you a little scared or intimidated by my wife?
Terrified.
There we go.
No, not at all.
No. Is that the right answer? Listen, Chris is a little scary, but I like that. I like that in a woman. Very scary. Very scary.
Ask a PA. She is.
It all depends on if she's going to see this.
Very scary.
Lefty. Well, here's one, by the way. Her name is not Lefty. Her name is Krista, but she's not allowed to go by Krista because...
Because Krista likes to go by Krista.
There you go.
Krista Miller Lawrence is very scary, and I'm very afraid of her. And I whenever I see her in the hallways, I tiptoe by her because if she's in a bad mood, look out. More people have been fired from Scrubs because of the wrath of Krista Miller Lawrence than by any other reason. But that having been said, I'm very, very sexually attracted to her, which is awkward because Bill is my boss. And scene.
I love Krista Miller. I would never say anything bad about Krista Miller. I think she's great. She's been great since the first day she came here.
What is the PS to that story?
The PS to that story, unfortunately, is that what she did do was very funny. And it was trying to push herself up backwards onto the counter.
It was one of everyone's favorite moments.
It annoyed me because I really wanted it to suck so I could cut it from the show and go see, and instead it's in the show.
And the funniest.